51st state, in post-1959 American political discourse, is a phrase that refers to areas or locales that are seriously or facetiously considered candidates for U.S. statehood, joining the 50 states that presently compose the United States. The phrase has been applied to external territories as well as parts of existing states which would be admitted as separate states in their own right. Voters in the District of Columbia and Puerto Rico have both voted for statehood in referendums as statehood candidates. Their admission to the Union requires congressional approval. American Samoa, Guam, the Northern Mariana Islands, and the United States Virgin Islands are also U.S. territories and could potentially become U.S. states. The phrase, 51st state, sometimes has international political connotations not necessarily having to do with becoming a U.S. state. The phrase, 51st state, can be used in a positive sense, meaning that a region or territory is so aligned, supportive, and conducive with the United States that it is like a U.S. state. It can also be used in a pejorative sense, meaning an area or region is perceived to be under excessive American cultural or military influence or control. In various countries around the world, people who believe their local or national culture has become too Americanized sometimes use the term 51st state in reference to their own countries. Before Alaska and Hawaii became states of the United States in 1959, the corresponding expression was the 49th state. Article 4, Section 3, Clause 1 of the United States Constitution authorizes Congress to admit new states into the United States. Historically, most new states brought into being by Congress have been established from an organized incorporated territory, created and governed by Congress. In some cases, an entire territory became a state. In others, some part of a territory became a state, as defined in a 1953 U.S. Senate Committee on Interior and Insular Affairs. The traditionally accepted requirements for statehood are, in most cases, the organized government of a territory made known the sentiment of its population in favor of statehood, usually by referendum. Congress then directed that government to organize a constitutional convention to write a state constitution. Upon acceptance of that constitution by the people of the territory and then by Congress, a joint resolution would be adopted granting statehood. The President would then issue a proclamation announcing the addition of a new state to the Union, while Congress, which has ultimate authority over the admission of new states, has usually followed this procedure. There have been occasions where it did not. A simple majority in each house of Congress is required to pass statehood legislation. However, in the United States Senate the filibuster requires 60 votes to invoke cloture. Some statehood advocacy organizations have called for amending or abolishing the filibuster as a path to achieve statehood. Like other legislation, the President can sign or veto statehood bills that pass and Congress has the power to override a veto with a two-thirds majority. If a new U.S. state were to be admitted, it would require a new design of the flag to accommodate an additional star for a 51st state. However, according to the U.S. Army Institute of Heraldry, the United States flag never becomes obsolete. In the event that a new state is added to the Union and a 51-star flag is approved, any approved American flag may continue to be used and displayed until no longer serviceable. The District of Columbia is often mentioned as a candidate for statehood. In Federalist No. 43 of the Federalist Papers, James Madison considered the implications of the definition of the seat of government, found in the United States Constitution. Although he noted potential conflicts of interest and the need for a municipal legislature for local purposes, Madison did not address the district's role in national voting. Legal scholars disagree on whether a simple act of Congress can admit the district as a state, due to its status as the seat of government of the United States, which Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution requires to be under the exclusive jurisdiction of Congress. Depending on the interpretation of this text, admission of the full district as a state may require a constitutional amendment, which is much more difficult to enact. However, the Constitution does not set a minimum size for the district. Its size has already changed once before, when Virginia reclaimed the portion of the district south of the Potomac. So the constitutional requirement for a federal district can be satisfied by reducing its size to the small central core of government buildings and monuments. The District of Columbia residents who support the statehood movement sometimes use the slogan, "Taxation without representation," to denote their lack of congressional representation. The phrase is a shortened versi.